The most useless trash hunter in the world, Jinwoo is a walking disaster of an E rank, barely strong enough to swat a fly. Every raid ends the same, beaten, broken, and somehow still breathing. And yet, this buffoon keeps charging into dungeons like a cockroach that refuses to die. But against all logic, something is about to change. In this video, we'll break down Season 1 of Solo Leveling in full detail, because even the most pathetic loser might get a shot at greatness. Jinwoo, along with his friend Lee Joo-hee, a healer, and several stronger hunters, enters a dungeon that seems like a simple mission. They easily defeat the dungeon boss. Normally, once the boss is defeated, the dungeon gate closes, signaling the end of the mission. However, this time, things are different. The gate doesn't close. Instead, a hidden passage opens in the wall, leading to another dungeon, a place everyone refers to as the Double Dungeon. Now, the hunter team splits into two groups. Some argue, no, this is too dangerous, let's go back, while others, filled with curiosity, insist, let's see what's on the other side. The final decision rests with Jinwoo. Even though he knows it could be very dangerous, he suggests they proceed and enter the second dungeon. Everyone enters the second dungeon, but the atmosphere is very strange. It's dark and empty everywhere, and in front of them is a large room filled with giant statues. In the center of the room stands a larger and more bizarre statue, resembling a king sitting on a throne. Initially, they think this might be where they find the main boss, but there is no sign of a boss. Suddenly, a horrifying event occurs. The statues begin to move. At first, no one believes it, but soon enough, the statues come to life and attack the hunters. One of the hunters vanishes in an instant, and the others quickly find themselves trapped. The statues mercilessly and powerfully obliterate the hunters. The team, which until that moment thought the dungeon was safe, now finds themselves in a real slaughterhouse. Despite being the weakest member of the group, Jinwoo does everything he can to survive. The statues take down the stronger hunters one by one, and no one can stop them. The situation spirals completely out of control, and with each step, Jinwoo faces the impending threat of death. Episode sets the stage for Jinwoo's struggles and the dangerous world of hunters, highlighting his determination to survive against overwhelming odds. Jinwoo and his group of hunters find themselves trapped in an extremely dangerous dungeon. Although hunters often deal with monsters in dungeons, this one is different. It seems that there are special rules in this dungeon, and if they can't understand these rules, they will die. In this critical situation, Jinwoo, always sharp-minded and alert, is the first to notice that the dungeon operates under specific rules. The large stone statues in the dungeon threaten the hunters with their gaze, and if anyone makes a wrong move, the statues will come to life and mercilessly kill them. The first rule is respect God. The hunters must kneel before a massive statue representing God in this dungeon and bow their heads. If they fail to do this, the statues will attack, and anyone who disobeys this rule will be killed instantly. A few hunters die because they either don't understand this rule or fail to act in time. The second rule is praise God. After everyone has knelt before the statue, they are instructed to praise God. Jinwoo and the others try their best to perform this correctly, but still some hunters are killed because they don't know how to properly praise. Now we arrive at the third rule, which is the hardest and most dangerous. Prove your faith in God. This is when things become dire. Hunters are killed one by one, and the statues attack them more ruthlessly than before. Only Jinwoo and Sung Cheol, one of the more experienced hunters, manage to interpret these rules to some extent and remain alive. As the number of surviving hunters dwindles, Joo-hee, a member of the group, faints from fear and stress. Only Jinwoo, Cheol, and Joo-hee are left alive. Knowing how dangerous the situation is, Jinwoo makes a significant decision. He asks Jewel to take Joo-hee and escape from the dungeon. He understands that someone must stay behind to hold the door so the others can get away. Initially hesitant, Jewel ultimately agrees and leaves the dungeon with Joo-hee. Jinwoo is left alone in the dungeon. He realizes that these may be his final moments. At that moment, he feels a deep sense of despair and anger. Jinwoo, who always thought of himself as a weak hunter, now faces a death he cannot escape. However, he refuses to give up and fights against his fate. At that exact moment, something strange happens. A hidden message appears in Jinwoo's mind, informing him, "You have completed the hidden mission." Jinwoo is shocked as he had no idea such a mission existed. The message continues, "Do you want to become a player?" Now, Jinwoo must decide. This is a second chance for survival and gaining power, but it also seems mysterious and strange. What decision will Jinwoo make? Will he accept this chance and become a player? And if he does, how will it impact his future and powers? After his terrifying experience in the double dungeon, Jinwoo wakes up in a hospital. Initially, he is completely dazed and confused, like someone who has just awakened from a dream and is unsure whether the events were real or just a nightmare. The first thought that crosses his mind is, was all of this just a dream? He examines his body and notices that there isn't even a scratch on him. His hands, legs, and even the wound on his chest from fighting the statues have completely vanished. This seems very strange to him as he remembers how close he was to death. However, he quickly realizes the reality when Woo Jinchul, the head of the Hunter Association's monitoring team, and his assistant Kang Da-shik enter the room. They explain that Cheol, who led the group in the dungeon, has decided to retire after losing his hand, and Juhee is in shock and severely traumatized. Jinwoo feels heavy-hearted upon hearing this, still processing everything that has happened. Woo Jinchul tells him they came to see if Jinwoo has experienced a second awakening. So what is the second awakening? For new fans, it is a rare phenomenon where a hunter's powers suddenly increase, reaching a new level of ability. Typically, hunters do not change after their initial awakening, but the second awakening can turn them into significantly stronger hunters. The monitoring team has come to test whether Jinwoo has gained any new powers after his ordeal. Jinwoo curiously agrees to the test, but the results are disappointing. There is no sign of a second awakening. Surprised by this news, Jinwoo is left alone after the monitoring team leaves, and at that moment, a strange message appears in his mind. This message, reminiscent of what he saw in the dungeon, reminds him that he is now a player and must complete a series of daily missions. The message warns him that if he fails to complete these missions, severe penalties await him. Here, the gaming aspect of the story becomes more pronounced as Jinwoo is faced with a system reminiscent of RPGs that he must adhere to. Still skeptical about the seriousness of these messages, Jinwoo decides to ignore the first day. He thinks this might also be part of his nightmare. However, the story takes a terrifying turn. When he disregards the first day, he is immediately thrust into a penalty mission. This penalty mission resembles a real hell where Jinwoo is in grave danger of dying. He must fight in a barren land filled with deadly monsters, and if he fails to complete his mission, he will be killed. This moment serves as a wake-up call for Jinwoo, making him realize that this system is real and not a joke. After barely surviving the penalty mission, Jinwoo resolves never to ignore any missions again. He starts completing his daily missions, and with each passing day, he receives rewards such as increased stats and loot boxes. With each mission completed, Jinwoo becomes stronger, marking the beginning of his incredible growth as a player. One of these loot boxes grants him a special item, a key to a personal dungeon. Upon acquiring this key, he understands that he has entered a new stage of the game. The key allows him to enter a new exclusive dungeon that only he can access. When Jinwoo enters this dungeon, he encounters a massive, wolf-like monster that is far stronger than any creature he has fought before. This is the moment Jinwoo truly realizes how much stronger he needs to become to survive in this new world. As the story becomes even more thrilling, we, as the audience, eagerly await to see how Jinwoo will overcome this new challenge. Will he be able to defeat this powerful wolf and survive? Or will he face even greater challenges ahead? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're interested, please subscribe to our channel. After entering the black hole and battling fierce monsters, Jinwoo is completely exhausted. but something feels different. His body is much lighter than before, and he feels more powerful. He tells himself, "I fought hard to regain this life. I shouldn't fear death." This line is significant because it shows that Jinwoo has decided not to let fear rule his life anymore. It seems that in this new path, death isn't an option for him, and he will fight until his last breath. However, this story intensifies here. Jinwoo faces a gigantic, wild wolf that attacks him with a power far beyond anything he has encountered before. Despite Jinwoo's increased strength, his attacks still seem ineffective. His blows don't stop the monster. In this moment, Jinwoo ponders, what should I do? He is alone, with no team by his side, and not even a healer to assist him. All he has is limited food and water, and the feeling of loneliness and danger reaches its peak. But Jinwoo has something important that others lack: the player system. As always, the system can help him find a solution. When he opens his inventory, he notices a sword inside, a magical sword whose presence he doesn't understand. This sword is a very valuable item that costs 3 million. He quickly picks it up and, with a flawless motion, delivers the final blow to the wolf-like creature, finally killing the monster. This is Jinwoo's first significant victory after his awakening, and we see how he is leveling up. However, this is just the beginning of the adventure. After killing this monster, more monsters appear in quick succession. Jinwoo is caught in a breathless battle, forced to fight each of them. The more monsters he kills, the stronger he feels. This growth in strength is not something that came easily. It is the result of every moment of effort and the wounds he has endured. Every blow he lands brings him one step closer to victory. After a series of tough battles, Jinwoo reaches the boss of the black hole. This boss is extremely powerful, and fighting it poses a significant challenge. However, now that Jinwoo has a better understanding of his power and how to utilize items, he succeeds in defeating the boss after an exciting and exhausting battle. By defeating the black hole boss, Jinwoo not only reaches a new level, but also earns greater rewards that enhance his power. Now the main story is unfolding outside the black hole. A black hole breach has occurred, meaning that the black hole has not been completely cleared, and monsters have escaped into the real world. One of these monsters is a gigantic golem attacking the city. Everything is in chaos. Juhee, who is still suffering from PTSD from the terrifying double black hole experience, along with other hunters, is trying to stop the golem. But every attack they make seems ineffective. It's as if the golem is invulnerable. Juhee, feeling powerless, is scared and hopeless, just like the other hunters. They are beginning to realize that their power is insufficient to defeat this golem, and they have no hope of victory. But just at these moments of despair, Jinwoo suddenly emerges from the black hole. He has become much stronger than before and enters the battlefield without hesitation. The scene where Jinwoo approaches the golem calmly and fearlessly is truly exhilarating. Instead of attacking the golem directly, he picks up his broken sword and skillfully throws it at the golem. The sword strikes the golem's weak point, and to everyone's astonishment, the golem's defenses completely crumble. This move causes the other hunters, who had been feeling hopeless, to quickly attack the golem and finally defeat it. But what's even more interesting is that Jinwoo calmly walks away from the scene afterward. He thinks to himself, the golem must have been hurt much more than I thought. This shows that he still isn't fully aware of his own power and impact. Jinwoo is learning how to use his new strength and gain more control over situations. But there is still room for growth. He is no longer the weak, hopeless hunter he once was. He is transforming into a strong and confident warrior. Continuing on, Jinwoo signs up with a group led by Hwang Dong-sok, a rank C hunter, to enter a rank C black hole. Interestingly, in this contract, Jinwoo specifies that he should not engage in any fights, meaning he won't take an active role in the battle and, on the other hand, cannot share in the rewards from the fights. This raises doubts for Jinwoo right from the start, as it seems Dong-sok intends to do something suspicious. However, the plot thickens as we encounter a new character named Yoo Jin-ho. Jin-ho is considered a rank D rookie, But what draws attention is the expensive and impressive equipment he possesses. The reason is that Jinwoo's family is extremely wealthy, and he has been able to acquire equipment that is powerful and costly, even for experienced hunters. But an important point is that Jinwoo has virtually no experience in this field and seems to be here more because of his wealth than his skills. When they enter the black hole, the first serious challenge they face appears: giant ants. These creatures are numerous and attack the group in waves. Although it was a tough battle, the group manages to defeat these monsters. Here, Jinwoo also plays a role in the fight with his powerful equipment, but it's clear that his experience is lacking, and he survives mainly by relying on his expensive gear. After this battle, the group reaches the boss room of the black hole. This room reveals a giant spider that is asleep. The area is filled with valuable mana crystals, and extracting these crystals could be highly profitable for anyone. At this moment, Jinwoo, aware of Jinwoo's contract, reviews it and realizes that since these crystals are not rewards from battles, Jinwoo should have a share of them. This insight that Jinwoo has uncovers Dong-seok's true plan and those of his group. Dong-seok's initial goal was to take all the crystals for himself and give nothing to Jinwoo and Jinwoo. Now that they realize Jinwoo has a legal right to take his share, they execute their sinister plot. Dong-seok and his group suddenly betray Jinwoo and Jinwoo. They trap these two in the boss room and, in the process, deliberately awaken the spider boss. Now their plan is for the giant spider to kill these two, allowing them to take the crystals and escape. Just at the moment when everything seems frightening and uncontrollable, Jinwoo prepares to take action. He had guessed from the beginning that this group intended to betray him, but now it's time to show how much stronger he has become. When the spider boss awakens, everyone expects this monster to attack Jinwoo and Jinwoo and eliminate them. Jinwoo, who has never faced such a situation, is completely horrified, and the fear of death is evident in his eyes. He doesn't even know how to cope with this situation, but Jinwoo is no longer that weak hunter he once was. From the moment the spider boss awakens, Jinwoo prepares himself for battle. This time, he is fighting not only for himself, but also for Jinwoo. This is a key moment in Jinwoo's character growth, as it shows that he can fight not just for his survival, but to support others as well. The story reaches its climax with this scene. The giant boss has awakened, and Jinwoo is gearing up for an epic battle. Now we will see how Jinwoo fights this wild monster with his new powers, and whether he can survive Dong-seok's deadly trap. Jinwoo manages to defeat the dungeon boss, a giant spider. This boss, who everyone expected would annihilate Jinwoo and Jinwoo, is killed by Jinwoo in a tough battle. Jinwoo, who witnessed the fight up close, is left speechless in shock. After all, Jinwoo, an E-rank hunter, has taken down a creature that posed a serious threat, even to higher-ranked hunters. Here, we see Jinwoo's significant transformation from a weak hunter to someone capable of defeating powerful dungeon bosses. However, once everything is over and the boss is defeated, Hwang Dong-seok and his crew re-enter the boss room. Here, Dong-seok's true scheme is revealed. Dong-seok had planned all along to deceive Jinwoo and Jinwoo, leaving them to fend for themselves in the dungeon, and now he makes another move. He pressures Jinwoo to kill Jinwoo, telling Jinwoo that if he doesn't do it, he will also face a dire fate. Jinwoo, an inexperienced but ethical hunter, is horrified to hear this request. He could never bring himself to do such a thing, and refuses. Jinwoo, who got involved in this mission due to his conscience and ethics, cannot betray Jinwoo. He is shocked to discover just how ruthless and treacherous Dong-seok is. At this moment, something important happens to Jinwoo. As always, his player system activates and gives him a new mission. He must kill all the members of Dong-seok's group, or he will face death as punishment. This mission puts Jinwoo in a difficult position. He has to decide whether to comply with the system and its orders or not. However, having previously experienced this system and knowing that these missions are real and very serious, Jinwoo cannot take the risk. So he quickly decides to carry out this deadly mission. Here, Jinwoo enters a completely ruthless state. He is no longer the weak, scared hunter who relied on others to save his life. Now, calmly and powerfully, he decides to eliminate the members of Dong-suk's group, one by one. This moment in the anime is full of excitement, as Jinwoo ruthlessly kills each treacherous hunter without hesitation or mercy. The first person Jinwoo annihilates is someone who thought he could handle Jinwoo, but Jinwoo, using his new abilities and enhancements from the system, easily takes him down with precise and swift strikes. The other members of Dong-suk's group, horrified by the scene, try to flee from Jinwoo or stop him, but none of them stand a chance for survival. Jinwoo is now far stronger than them, and with his new skills, he dispatches them one after another without any difficulty. Dong-suk, who can hardly believe how powerful Jinwoo has become, sees that his treacherous plan has completely failed. Initially thinking he could easily destroy Jinwoo and Jinho, he now finds himself the victim of a plot he orchestrated. Ultimately, Jinwoo also destroys Dong-suk, bringing this ruthless traitor to justice for his actions. After Jinwoo eliminates all of Dong-suk's members, he and Jinyo exit the dungeon. However, here Jinwoo's cunning plan is revealed. He tells Jinyo that the best course of action is to tell everyone that Dong-suk's group was killed by the dungeon monsters. This fabricated story works perfectly, as no one would have expected Jinwoo to single-handedly defeat the entire group. In the end, Jinwoo and Jinho successfully escape the dungeon, while everyone believes that Dong-suk and his crew were victims of the dungeon monsters. Jinwoo demonstrates here that he has not only become physically much stronger, but has also acted shrewdly and intelligently on a mental and strategic level. He now utilizes his player system effectively and devises careful and cunning plans to turn dangerous situations to his advantage. Continuing on, Yu Jinyo, who has become an admirer of Jinwoo and is looking to create a guild, makes a proposal to him. Jinyo wants to obtain a personal guild license and needs a powerful hunter to meet the necessary requirements. Therefore, he decides to offer Jinwoo something special. Jinyo tells Jinwoo that if he helps him with this, he will give him a complete building, a structure that signifies power and wealth, which can lead Jinwoo to a more secure and better future. However, contrary to Jinho's expectations, Jinwoo is not easily tempted. Now seeking greater power and an opportunity to save his mother, Jinwoo rejects the proposal. He doesn't want to be used as a tool for someone else's goals, which surprises Jinho with Jinwoo's reaction. As events unfold, Jinwoo notices strange changes in his daily missions. These missions, which are usually assigned with a specific quantity, are this time unnaturally increasing and repeating. He observes in surprise that instead of returning to normal after completion, they continue. Jinwoo tries to maximize the missions to see what this odd occurrence will lead to. When Jinwoo maximizes the mission, he unexpectedly receives a reward, a key that guides him to an S-rank dungeon. This special key opens a door to a dungeon that the system claims has a rare reward awaiting him, a special potion that can cure any disease. Jinwoo, whose mother is in a coma due to a severe illness and is hospitalized, feels a surge of hope upon hearing this. He realizes that this is the opportunity he has been searching for, a chance to save his mother's life. Without hesitation, he decides to enter the dungeon, fully aware of the dangers. Upon entering the dungeon, Jinwoo soon faces his first challenge, a terrifying creature named Cerberus, the guardian of the castle entrance. Cerberus, a massive three-headed dog with sharp teeth, has been designated as the dungeon's protector. Jinwoo engages in a grueling battle. Cerberus repeatedly brings him to the brink of death, and Jinwoo must utilize all his strength and tactics to survive. A fierce and bloody battle ensues, and at any moment, Jinwoo could succumb. But thinking of saving his mother, Jinwoo perseveres with all his might and ultimately manages to defeat Cerberus. After his victory, he receives a key as a reward, a key that unlocks the entrance to the castle that Cerberus was guarding. Jinwoo knows that inside this castle lie the materials necessary to create the healing potion he seeks. However, when he enters the castle and senses even greater dangers, he realizes that continuing at this moment could cost him his life. The injuries from the battle with Cerberus have weakened him, and he knows that if he advances under these conditions, he may never return alive. With all the effort he has put in, he promises himself that he will return soon to complete this mission and obtain the potion to heal his mother. Meanwhile, in the outside world, the Hunters Association has begun investigating Dong-suk's death. After discovering that the dungeon boss was defeated by someone, they conclude that Jinwoo and Yoo-jin-ho are likely involved. Dong-soo, Dong-suk's younger brother, a powerful S-rank hunter himself, becomes furious upon hearing the names Jinwoo and Yinyo and seeks revenge. He vows to find both of them and take revenge for his brother's death. As Jinwoo struggles to find a way back to the castle to complete his mission, the threat of Dong-soo, who is seeking vengeance, casts a dangerous shadow over his future. Jinwoo visits the hospital to see his mother, who remains in a coma. She has been in this state for a long time due to an unknown and mysterious illness, and Jinwoo looks at her with sadness and regret. He is doing everything in his power to save her. After learning about the S-rank dungeon with the special key, hope has sparked in his heart that if he becomes strong enough, he can return to the dungeon and obtain the healing potion needed to cure his mother. With this motivation, Jinwoo decides to enhance his power and wholeheartedly embarks on a challenging path to gain strength. He accepts Yoo Jin-yo's proposal for collaboration. Jin-yo is still looking to establish a personal guild and needs Jinwoo's help to complete various missions in dungeons. This collaboration not only aids Jin-yo in building his guild, but also provides numerous opportunities for Jinwoo to strengthen and grow his abilities. Since the rules for entering C-rank dungeons require a team of at least 5 members, the Hunters Association decides to select group members from the survivors of the dual dungeon incident. The survivors, including Jinwoo, consist of various individuals: Jo-hee, an old friend and healer of the group; Chi-yul, an experienced hunter; Kim Sang-sik, and Kang Jung-ho, both of whom have significant experience in dungeons. However, due to the low number of hunters in the area, the Hunters Association has to fill the group with additional members. They decide to use some imprisoned hunters who were in prison for various crimes, but are now willing to participate in missions in exchange for reduced prison sentences. These imprisoned hunters are added as temporary members of the group, each hoping that by completing these missions, they can gain more freedom. To oversee and monitor these imprisoned hunters, the Hunters Association appoints a high-ranking hunter named Kang Tae-shik as their supervisor. Kang Tae-shik, a B-rank hunter, is a strict and serious man who does not allow anyone to break the rules. He oversees the imprisoned hunters, ensuring that they follow orders and do not cause problems for the group. Jinwoo continues his efforts to gain more power, with his primary goal being to save his mother. At the same time, he must undertake dangerous and unpredictable missions in the dungeons alongside the imprisoned hunters, each of whom has suspicious and varied personalities. Will Jinwoo be able to successfully navigate these missions and achieve the power he needs? The group of hunters reaches a fork in the dungeon and decides to split up for faster progress. Yoo Yun-ho, Jinwoo, and Chi-yul take one path, while Kang Jung-ho and Kim Sang-sik choose another route. The third group, consisting of the prisoners, is led by Kang Tae-shik, the ruthless B-rank hunter. Kang Tae-shik has a secret plan. Motivated by personal reasons and at the request of a victim's father, he decides to use this opportunity to kill the prisoners. These prisoners have committed crimes in the past, and now Kang Tae-shik intends to enact his version of justice. Once separated from the others, he seizes the opportunity and ruthlessly begins to slaughter them, with none of the prisoners having a chance against his strength and brutality. Meanwhile, Kang Jung-ho and Kim Sang-sik stumble upon the scene of the massacre. Horrified by the corpses and signs of slaughter, they realize that Kang Tae-shik is behind the killings. Upon discovering their presence, Kang Tae-shik quickly decides to eliminate them as well to leave no witnesses. With his inherent violence and cruelty, he takes down both Kang Jung-ho and Kim Sang-sik. The scene of the conflict is filled with bloodshed and death, showcasing Kang Tae-shik's merciless nature. When Jinwoo, Jo-hee, and Chi-yul sense that something is wrong and notice unusual occurrences, They quickly decide to return to the scene and rejoin the other groups. Upon their arrival, they are shocked to find the bloody corpses and the terrifying atmosphere surrounding them. Jo-hee, being a healer, is overwhelmed with horror at the sight and struggles to maintain her composure. Jinwoo, now filled with rage, realizes that Kang Tae-shik is responsible for the atrocities. Seeing Jinwoo and the others arrive, Kang Tae-shik understands he must eliminate them as well to ensure no one survives to expose his crimes. With a ruthless expression and a sinister smile, he charges at Jinwoo, prepared to eliminate anyone in his way. However, this time the situation is different. Jinwoo stands with newfound confidence against Kang Tae-shik. Empowered by his recent abilities, he utilizes his new powers and fights back with agility and skill. A fierce and intense battle ensues between Jinwoo and Kang Tae-shik, both engaging in a fierce struggle. Jinwoo skillfully counters Kang's attacks one after another and ultimately manages to defeat him. With a decisive and merciless move, Jinwoo brings Kang Tae-shik down, putting an end to all his crimes. After the confrontation and Kang Tae-shik's death, Chi-yul, grateful to Jinwoo for saving his life and killing someone who threatened others, vows to keep the truth about the incident a secret. He promises Jinwoo that no one will learn of what has transpired, thereby sparing him from potential troubles. As the day filled with death and violence comes to a close, that night Jo-hee and Jinwoo share an intimate moment talking together. Jo-hee, holding a small stone known as the Essence Stone, shows it to Jinwoo and smiles, asking, "Do you remember?" This reference brings back sweet memories and a recent past for Jinwoo, a moment of peace and affection that amidst all the carnage and brutality serves as a rare point of solace and calm for him. Jo-hee, a close friend and former comrade of Jinwoo, makes a significant decision. She tells Jinwoo that she no longer wants to continue as a hunter. She explains that she has decided to step back from the life of a hunter and wants to return to the normal world. Jo-hee shares that her life has been filled with dangers and stress, and she no longer wants to bear that pressure. In a heartfelt and friendly moment, she tells Jinwoo that he can come to visit her at her home anytime he needs her. This comforting conversation is crucial for Jinwoo, as he realizes that Jo-hee has found the peace he has always sought in life. After this scene, Jinwoo continues his journey with Yoo Jin-ho. Jinwoo, still pursuing his dream of establishing his personal guild, devises a specific plan. He purchases several C-rank dungeon permits to use these dungeons to strengthen his and Jinwoo's skills. However, entering C-rank dungeons requires a minimum group size, so Jinwoo has to hire low-ranked hunters to accompany them. These low-ranked hunters mainly join because they need to fill the group numbers and play no significant role in clearing the dungeons. As soon as they enter each dungeon, Jinwoo and Jinho take on the responsibility of clearing it themselves. During these missions, Jinwoo's abilities gradually become more apparent. Having advanced from a regular hunter to higher levels, he easily confronts the enemies and creatures of the dungeons. Meanwhile, Jinho looks at Jinwoo with admiration and respect, increasing his trust in him. This collaboration and the continuous missions provide Jinwoo with the opportunity to further enhance his powers and prepare himself for greater challenges. At the same time, in the White Tiger Guild, a recruitment officer searching for powerful and talented hunters notices the name Sung Jinwoo. After reading reports and reviewing Jinwoo's recent activities, he concludes that Jinwoo has likely awakened again and gained new powers. With growing curiosity, the recruitment officer delves deeper into gathering information and decides to invite Jinwoo to join the guild. He believes that Jinwoo could be a valuable member of the White Tiger Guild and hold an important position in the team. The recruitment officer contacts Jinwoo and offers him the chance to join the guild. He attempts to convince Jinwoo, explaining the benefits of being part of the White Tiger Guild. However, Jinwoo, who has always valued his independence and personal journey, respectfully declines the offer. He knows that he doesn't need to rely on a large guild to achieve his goals and can progress on his own. Later, Jinwoo receives an unexpected message from the system. In this message, he is informed that, due to reaching a certain level, he has become eligible for a special mission. This mission, titled Job Change, allows him to achieve a higher level than before and acquire new skills and abilities. Excited by this message, Jinwoo knows that this mission could be a turning point in his life. Not only could it increase his powers, but it also presents new opportunities for him to move forward in his quest to save his mother and pursue his greater goals. Jinwoo activates his job change mission and is suddenly transported to a world unlike anything he has ever seen. He appears in a vast and mysterious castle, surrounded by towering walls and deep shadows. The atmosphere of the castle is filled with danger and threats, and with every step he takes, Jinwoo knows a significant challenge awaits him. Upon entering the castle, various enemies attack him from all directions. He faces a wave of knights, assassins, and sorcerers, all possessing powers similar to those of past adversaries, but appearing much stronger and deadlier. These creatures seem designed to test Jinwoo, each representing a stage of his growth and progress. Jinwoo fights back with all his strength and skill, taking down enemies one after another. These battles challenge not only his physical abilities, but also his endurance and willpower. After overcoming numerous enemies and enduring countless battles, Jinwoo reaches the main hall of the castle, where he senses something beyond any foe he has faced before is waiting for him. In this dark and expansive space, he encounters Igris, the commander of the Bloody Knights. Igris, clad in red and black armor, has a mysterious and terrifying presence, wielding a massive sword. His very being exudes power and danger, and even his gaze poses a threat to Igris. Igris approaches Jinwoo and attacks him without a word. A deadly and breathless battle begins between them. Jinwoo knows that Igris is far stronger than him, and any lapse in focus could cost him his life. Every strike of Igris' sword is powerful and lethal, forcing Jinwoo to use all his skills to survive. Each time it seems Jinwoo might falter, he rises with even greater determination, continuing the fight. Ultimately, through extraordinary effort and harnessing all the strength he possesses, Jinwoo manages to defeat Igris. This victory propels him into a new level of power and confidence, proving to himself that he is ready to face even greater challenges and draw closer to his goals. However, this is not the end of the job change mission. As soon as Igris falls, the main mission activates, and Jinwoo realizes he must withstand an endless wave of enemies he fought on his way to Igris' chamber. These monsters and foes attack him one after another, and Jinwoo must continue fighting without any opportunity to rest. An exhausting and grueling battle begins, and Jinwoo perseveres with focus and unyielding willpower, refusing to let anyone defeat him. Meanwhile, significant events unfold in the outside world. In South Korea, S-rank hunters gather and begin preparations for a highly dangerous mission. Their destination is Jeju Island, an area that suffered a significant collapse in an S-rank dungeon years ago and has since become a perilous region filled with monsters. This island has turned into a haven for powerful beings and now poses a serious threat to South Korea. The S-rank hunters, some of the strongest individuals in the world, decide to venture to the island to confront the deadly creatures that inhabit it. This mission is crucial for the country's security, and the hunters set off toward Jeju Island with strong motivation while Jinwoo engages in his endless and perilous battles within the castle. As we approach the end of the first season, remember to like our videos for support. If there's a specific anime you'd like us to summarize, please write the name in the comments. Enjoying this recap? Hit that subscribe button to see more of Bonnie's shows. Let's dive into the continuation of the story. Jinwoo finds himself trapped in a dark and threatening castle, surrounded by an endless onslaught of enemies. He must withstand waves of knights, monsters, and magical creatures that ruthlessly attack him. These enemies emerge one after another from the shadows, and it seems there is no end to this bloody battle. Amidst the intense pressure and despair, Jinwoo reflects on his past and the hard days he faced when he had no power and stood alone against the monsters and threats of the hunter world. For a moment, he teeters on the brink of surrender, feeling that this time he might not have the strength to fight back. However, he remembers his primary reason for fighting and his ultimate goal, to save his mother and gain the power to protect his loved ones. This thought revitalizes him. With renewed determination, he resolves never to give up and to fight with all his might. Suddenly, at an unexpected moment, the timer for his daily mission runs out. He is transported to the penalty area, a zone that, unlike before, now offers him a chance to catch his breath and recover his strength. Jinwoo takes full advantage of this pause. He focuses in the penalty area and revitalizes his powers. This opportunity allows him to prepare not just physically, but also mentally for the next battle. After resting and training enough, Jinwoo is returned to the castle, where countless enemies await him. This time, however, he confronts them with newfound strength and iron will. A fierce and exhausting battle ensues. Jinwoo skillfully utilizes his new powers, combining deadly attacks with cunning tactics, taking down enemies one after another. He gives no chance to his foes and carves his path through the endless tide of dark creatures. Ultimately, after a long and grueling fight, Jinwoo succeeds in defeating all his enemies and cleanses the castle of darkness and threats. Following this significant victory, the system grants him a special reward. Jinwoo receives the title of Shadow Monarch, a designation reflecting his new status and power. But this is only part of his reward. He also gains a unique ability that allows him to resurrect the dead and command them as his shadow army. Jinwoo is astonished to discover he can now revive all the creatures and foes he has defeated, adding them to his army of shadows. He decides that the first shadow he summons will be Igris, the Bloody Knight, the powerful enemy he had to struggle hard to defeat. Jinwoo chooses Igris as the first commander of his shadow army, and now Igris has returned as his most loyal servant. Gradually, Jinwoo creates more shadows from his enemies, forming his shadow army. With this new force and unparalleled power, he becomes more formidable than ever. Knowing that this new formidable is a worthwhile enemy who is a possibility is a worthwhile defeat. Meanwhile, in South Korea, a group of S-rank hunters is trying to contain a great threat. These hunters, who have traveled to Jeju Island, make a horrifying discovery while investigating the area. Years ago, an S-rank dungeon collapsed on Jeju Island, turning it into a den of deadly and wild monsters. However, the hunters now realize that the creatures on this island have not only become significantly more dangerous, but have also started to evolve. These beings have changed in a way that allows them to potentially breach the island and threaten the mainland. This revelation plunges the hunters into fear and concern. If the monsters from Jeju Island reach the mainland, all of South Korea will be at risk, and thousands of lives could be lost. The hunters know they must find a way to stop these monsters as soon as possible and confront them with greater strength. The season concludes with scenes of Jinwoo and his shadow army, now appearing more powerful and ready than ever, alongside the S-rank hunters preparing for a monumental battle against the creatures of Jeju Island. Enjoying this recap? Hit that subscribe button to see more of Bonnie's shows.